gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the My 2 Cents Podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. This is episode 263 of the program, and I first would like to start off by welcoming our first-time listeners and our returning listeners to the program, and I would like to ask every single one of you, how are you doing? I'm hoping that everybody's week was great to lovely. If it wasn't, I hope that this upcoming week that we are about to embark on will be better than last. If you had a great to lovely week last week, I hope that momentum will carry on into this week and it will do you some justice. Now, having said that, I'm going to say what I always say every Sunday. I'm hoping that everyone is able to go into this week not being able to deal with so much stress. I know stress is an everyday part of the human experience, but I'm hoping that people are able to handle the stress that they are accustomed to, if you will. Able to handle your stress and able to deal with it in the way that you don't feel overwhelmed. I want people not to take in other people's situations and make that on your plate and get you more stressed out, because I believe in this wholeheartedly that when you become overly stressed out, your mental health will start to decrease. And if your mental health decreases, then your physical health decreases. And if your physical health decreases, then guess what? You are one step closer, or in certain people's cases, many steps closer to a early demise. And I don't want that to happen for people out here. I want people to leave this earth when it is your time to leave this earth, not being advanced by something like overwhelming of a big assortment of stress. I don't want that to be the case for anyone. So I always say that every Sunday, and I truly do mean that. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you let's say you have a couple things to do, like 3 to 4 things to do. If 2 of them are big, I'll say map out a plan. Put it down in a journal or in your phone. Dedicate some time of your day to that specific thing. And if you know it's so big that you won't be able to do it all in one day, again, map out a certain time for the day that you're in, and then associate the rest of it over in the days to come. Don't try to think that you can try to handle that big obstacle all in one day, because the only thing you're doing is just putting yourself in a predicament where you're just adding stress onto your life. I don't want people to do that. Handle the things that you can handle, and if you can't handle it, don't worry about it. You have another day and you can figure something else out, all right? That's what I would like for people to understand and people to actually do, okay? Now, with that being said, now it's time for me to move on to your National Food Days of the Week. Today being January the 18th, it is Coffee Day as well as Peking Duck Day. January the 19th, it is Popcorn Day. January 20th, it is Cheese Lovers Day as well as Butter Crunch Day. January 21st, Granola Bar Day as well as New England Clam Chowder Day. January the 22nd, it is Blonde Brownie Day as well as Southern Food Day. January the 23rd, Pie Day, but more specifically, Rhubarb Pie Day. And then to round us out, January the 24th, it is Lobster Thermidor as well as Peanut Butter Day. Now, with that being said, that was your National Food Days of the Week. Now it's time for me to move over into the condolences part of the show here. The first condolence I do have to give to is the CEO and the heiress of Harold's Chicken, Kristen Pierce-Sherrod. She passed away at the age of 55. Her family announced the news on social media and asked for privacy, with arrangements to be shared later. The news of her passing was shared in a since-deleted statement posted to Instagram on behalf of both Harold's Chicken Corporation and the Chicago Children's Equestrian Center, an organization Pierce was closely connected to. In the statement, it will say, on behalf of Harold's Chicken Corporation and Chicago Children's Equestrian Center, we are deeply saddened to announce the passing of our CEO, Kristen Pierce-Sherrod. The statement read, per a CBS News report, the family extends their sincere gratitude for the outpouring of prayers and condolences. At this time, we kindly ask that their privacy be respected during this time of bereavement. No additional details were provided regarding the date or cause of Miss Pierce's death. Her family said funeral arrangements will be announced at a later time. So as of right now, that's all the news that we have on Mrs. Pierce's passing. Off of that passing, on to another one, but this time is more unfortunate. This one is former All That cast member Kianna Underwood. She has passed away at the age of 33 due to a hit and run. Variety will report that on January 16th, 2026, Kianna Underwood had died suddenly in Brooklyn following a hit and run accident. The NYPD confirmed that a female victim who was 33 had been found dead. Citing a TMZ report, Variety reported that Underwood was struck by a sedan before 7 a.m. and was dragged for almost 2 blocks. Underwood was pronounced dead at the scene. No arrests are known to have been made at the time of the publication and also at the time of this recording right now. So she has passed away. It's sad to have to put out to the world that someone has passed away at the age of 33. It's sad to even think of someone passing away at the age of 33, not to their own circumstances, but due to someone else's actions that you are no longer here. That sucks to have to read that, and I can only imagine her family getting this information, if not from the police, but from the news stations themselves. I do give my thoughts and prayers to the family of Kianna Underwood, as well as Miss Christine Pierce-Sherrod as well. That at this time is all the information that we do have for both situations. The Kianna Underwood, I suspect some more info to at least come about this upcoming week that we're about to embark on. I'm hoping so, because for it to be a hit and run, I'm hoping, again, for it to be New York, there should be some cameras, at least on every corner, to have some type of footage of this, so they at least can get the vehicle's license plate number and details, and at least there's some type of arrest can be made, because again, I don't want someone to just get away with a hit and run that caused someone to have lost their life. So I'm hoping that in this week we will get more information about that. Hopefully for Wednesday's episode of the Midweek Breakdown, I'll be able to give you guys something if something comes out. If not, we'll just wait and see about it. But those are the condolences that came out this week, so there you have that. Now, moving on for that, before I get into the actual news, I do want to say something for the people in the Midwest and the Northeast of the United States. It's about to be cold for you guys. Brace up. I know around this time period, January, gets cold for you guys anyway, but from what I'm looking at, you guys are supposed to be getting rounds of snow and cold, and I mean like cold, at least from the beginning of this week that you're about to be on. So I want people to at least get some type of big jackets on yourself. Be prepared to start shoveling some snow, or at least have a snowblower, something in those realms. I know certain people are used to it, especially people in the Northeast, and certain people still out there in the Midwest are used to it. But I'm talking about people that move from different states to go to the Northeast and Midwest that are now new to it. Have a big coat and have a snowblower, or have a shovel ready up for the snow and the massive cold that you guys are about to go through this week. Just want to throw it out there for the people, again, in the Northeast and Midwest that are listening to this program here. Now, moving on for that, I got to talk about government news, and I haven't done this in a minute, but I do have to put this out there. Anything that I'm about to say involving the government is strictly my thoughts and opinion. This podcast is not a Republican or Democratic propaganda type of pushing podcast. It's not. It's literally just one guy, me, giving my thoughts and views and opinions on things that we see every day, and especially, and I have to say this, especially in this administration and the way it is going. Everybody should be giving their own thoughts, or at least have their own thoughts, and not be in groupthink, because that is dangerous. And we are in dangerous times, especially with the person that's kind of America's figurehead. And again, I do want to always state, I don't think it's just him. I think he plays a part, but I think it is the people in the background. I think there are some dark hands, some dark forces that are doing some things behind the scenes that will never come to public light. So I just want to make sure people understand that. It's not always just Trump. Yes, Trump plays a part. I'm not trying to give that man a pass at all. But there are some people and some type of institutions that could put a kibosh on a lot of his stuff that he wants to do, but apparently they're not doing it. And I just want to make sure people understand that when I give my thoughts and opinion, because again, that should kind of let people know where I'm at with this. People might say that's a conspiracy, but no, it's not. I'm going to say this right now. I put out an episode and I had to go back to it in November of 2024. It's called Something on You, because I was talking about we get the election results from Donald Trump and all of that. And I listened back to it because I started seeing people going back to download that episode. And I tried to figure out why. Why were people going back to download that episode? And listening to it, I was like, oh yeah. I remember me talking about how I don't blame the citizens that voted for Donald Trump. I don't blame Donald Trump himself for even running. People could have put the kibosh on Donald Trump running. There are people in government. There are people in that realm that could have put the kibosh on Donald Trump running. So they're at fault for this. Everything that we're seeing what Donald Trump's administration is doing, there's, again, dark forces that are allowing this man to do this stuff that we are seeing right now, and kind of giving him a little nudge or probably empowering him to do this. I do want people to understand that. So when you are going against Donald Trump and his administration, in which I do believe that you should, especially with what we're seeing and what I'm about to talk about in a minute, you should kind of start throwing tomatoes and throwing like your rotten fruit at people in government, because again, they have the power to kind of kick homeboy out and get him out of here, but it's just not happening. So I do want people to understand that. So when I talk about the government, again, this is not a Republican or Democratic propaganda machine just being pushed. Again, this is just one man's thought, and I am my own man. Just want to get that out of the way before I do talk about government. Now, with me talking about that, I have to get on into it. I want to talk about Trump. Trump is now levying tariffs on nations that are opposed to U.S. controlling Greenland. It has been reported that President Donald Trump is announcing tariffs against 8 European countries starting February the 1st. He has reportedly said that the United States needs Greenland for national security. Greenland is a self-governing territory that is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Trump stated that starting February 1st, imports from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland will be levied a 10% tariffs. Those tariffs would increase to 25% on June 1st. So we are now dealing with Trump going to cause more enemies to hate us, more people to hate America, more than we've ever seen. I'll say probably since America kind of broke away from England. I'm just going to be honest with you. Trump is on this kick of where he is just trying to do everything in his power to just piss off everybody. And again, I can't understand why. I just can't. People might say he's emboldened because he already was in the seat first time. The first time that he was there, he was learning how to move around. And now since he's back for a second, he now gets to actually do what he wants to do. I don't know. I can't say that's the plan. I can't say that was always the plan. I can't say nothing. I don't know, bro. I can just tell you that it is a legit night and day. I've said it before and I say it again. His first run, people were laughing at Trump. It was laughter. You had comedians and nighttime host shows and people more freely talking about Trump and laughing at his mistakes that he was doing as he was the head of the United States. And I believe that was around 2016 to 2020. The first term. People were laughing about it because people couldn't believe that we had this guy there. First it was doom and gloom, but then as we saw him doing what he was doing, people was like, okay, this guy's a joke. Now with him running, and it's only now his second year technically, we're seeing more people not looking at this being a funny thing, This is now people looking at it as like, oh no, homeboy's trying to ruin us. He is trying to send us into war. People are ringing the alarms, which in a way it does need to be rung for the people, because you see what he's doing. You see him making tariffs announcements and leveling tariffs on products, which causes us, the consumers, to have to pay more, which is crazy. You see him throw out the National Guard, not to other countries, but to your own countrymen. The people that send their kids or have their kids enlist themselves into the army, into the Navy, into the military, all that stuff, to serve the country. Usually, America, for many years, even before I was alive, they would send those people across the water over into other countries to kind of help out, or in certain cases, invade other countries to do what America is, or do what America wants to do, whether they are partnering with the leader over in another country to help them out with whatever they need, or to try to take out someone that need to be took out. That's always the reason why people were sent over into other countries. But for this administration, we're abandoning that, and we're like, oh no, we're sending our National Guard and people in the military, not across the country, but over into our own country and into different states to cause terror. And that happened last year, and it's still continuing this year, but not just with the National Guard this year. We see it happening with ICE, which, again, I'll get more to that. But this second go around, it is absolutely nuts. And again, we're talking about the tariffs that he's leveling, and he's trying to get Greenland, because he wants that, because he says it's important for national security. But you just had lawmakers in Denmark to try to lower the temperature, per se, so that they will at least have a sit down with Trump. People in Denmark, people in Europe will actually be able to sit down with Trump's representatives and tell them, or have a civilized conversation. You had people within our country, the people that are in politics, literally fly over there, talk to their people, try to calm it down instead of it being escalated. And then they did this on a Thursday, and then Trump goes on a Friday and makes tariff talks, and said that he is not Friday. I think it was either Friday or Saturday. It literally just happened. And now you have, what I'm saying is, he did this after you sent people over there. And now you're just causing more of a firestorm, which it doesn't need to be that way. And I've said it multiple times. We do not need to be in the crosshairs of different individuals. There was just us taking the Venezuelan president and having him over here, him and his wife. And people were doom and gloom. People were saying, hey, yo, this is not good, which I stand by. It's not good that we have that president and his wife over here, and we're charging them for narcos, trafficking, and all this type of crap. Different charges. I said, whether it be on a Sunday episode or a Wednesday episode, I said that there's nothing to fear at the moment. The only time we need to fear is when you see nations' leaders standing side by side with one another and give a united front, saying that they are opposing what the United States is doing. If that doesn't happen, we have nothing to worry about. And I still feel this way. Let me make that perfectly clear. I still feel this way. But with you, again, trying to take Greenland now, and you're now leveling or putting tariffs on the different nations that I just made mention. I want to read them off again. Norway, Denmark, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, Finland. Dog, we are really trying to just cut people all for nothing for land that doesn't really belong to us, which again is a bully tactic, which we are moving one step closer to nations and their leaders having secret side deals with one another to try to basically beat up on us because our figurehead is trying to be a bully out there. It just doesn't make sense at all why Trump is doing what he's doing. And again, it's people behind the scenes that's empowering him to do this. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean to sound doom and gloom because I don't feel that all the way there yet. But I do feel that we are moving steps closer to that situation, that vision of seeing different different nations leaders standing on a podium, standing side by side, saying that they will oppose the U.S. if the U.S. tries to go into Greenland or if the U.S. tries to go into another country. I see that happening sooner rather than later. And once that happens, I'm going to say right now, that is where we should have people in the U.S., in the government's position, trying to boot Donald Trump. They already should be trying to boot him out now because of what's going on with ICE and the whole Minneapolis situation, because he should already try to be pulling people back. But if he's not worried about that, he should be worried in the people out in that circular bowl of government. They should be worried when nations leaders come together. They should. And once they will decide to oppose the U.S., they should be. Again, I just want to let that be known. We are still going after Greenland. We're imposing tariffs on those nations that are opposed to us. And it just doesn't look good. It doesn't. Not at all. Next up, I do want to talk about the ICE situation in Minneapolis. Last week, I talked about the Renee Good situation and the whole ICE agent that shot Miss Good, all for nothing. It has since come out that they have looked at the body and there's been 4 shots that Miss Good's body did take. 4 too many. I still stand with what I said last week, that homeboy should have shot her tires out. If he felt that way, again, you as a, not even say an officer, but you as someone that's working for the government and you have a gun, you at least should have some type of training to not shoot someone unless it's lethal. And in that video, which again, we all saw last week, it was not a lethal thing. You weren't in a deadly situation at all. Okay. But it's neither here nor there. Miss Renee Good is no longer here. And again, rest in peace, Renee Good. But I do want to read you guys something here with a judge limiting ICE and their whole tactics on crowd control. Politico would write up an article about it. They will say a federal judge on Friday barred federal agents in Minneapolis from arresting peaceful protesters or using non-lethal ammunition and crowd control tools against them. In an 80-page ruling by U.S. District Judge Kate Menendez, she ordered Homeland Security barring them and ICE officials in Operation Metro Surge from using pepper spray or similar non-lethal munitions and crowd dispensary tools against persons who are engaging in peaceful and non-obstructive protest activity. The judge also prohibited federal agents from stopping vehicles following them, as long as those vehicles are maintaining a safe and appropriate distance. In a statement, White House spokesperson Abigail Johnson would say this absurd ruling embraces a dishonest left-wing narrative. Here's the truth. Federal agents have acted lawfully to protect themselves and ensure the integrity of their operations when individuals attempt to intervene. The Trump administration will always enforce the law. I don't believe that at all. I don't like that they've done that. They have not, they have not acted lawfully. They haven't. They've been trying to intimidate different individuals. I have seen videos of people, either them being the of it being a first person point of view, or you have a person in the car that's recording this situation, and they see either the person that they're driving with or a person just off on the side being intimidated by ICE agents. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Now, with the ICE agents in Minneapolis not being able to use lethal munitions, they have to use less lethal munitions. I still think that there could be some incidences that could lead to people being hurt, or in two people's instances, blinded. I want to read you something here from The Guardian. It will talk about two protesters who were shot close range during a California protest. The names of these two individuals are Caden Rumler and Britton Rodriguez. They would tell KDLA and the LA Times of being shot in close range during a protest in California. Caden Rumler, he was shot in the face with a less lethal munition at a distance of only a few feet. Doctors found glass shards and plastic fragments in his skull and a fragment of metal lodge just shy of his carotid artery. There's been a video of this. I haven't seen the video. I only saw like photos of homeboy with his face, and you see from his eye, it looks swelled up. It looks puffy. He was said that the shooting left him blind in his left eye. He said, "I can't sneeze or cough because it's dangerous. They pulled a piece of plastic the size of a nickel out of my eye. They said it was a miracle I survived," he added. And that was Mr. Rumbler's situation, while Britton Rodriguez will describe that getting shot in his eye felt like his eye exploded in his head in an interview with the Los Angeles Times that was published on Friday. So again, them being shot with less lethal rounds of munition, it still doesn't help. You still are causing people to potentially be blind. Again, that's all on them. That's on their medical to tell them whether their eye will be fixed or not. But at this time, from the article, they're saying they're being left blind. But either way, bro, you're still doing something that is hurting American people. And again, ICE and Department of Homeland Security, their whole little agentry right now, they're running around trying to get quote unquote illegals out of the US. And only thing you're doing is just causing a lot of fear, a lot of pandemonium, a lot of just chaos out here, which that's kind of the opposite. When you're out there supposedly trying to get quote unquote illegals, quote unquote migrants out of here, you're not supposed to be running around like hooligans. You're not supposed to be running around like people that have no idea what they're doing. You're supposed to be doing something with some type of system in play. You're supposed to have some type of tact. You're not supposed to just be just an idiot. And it seems that's what's happening out here. And I don't like it seems that's the way that they're cool with this. The people at the top, they have no beef with people being idiots. The people that they put in charge of this operation being idiots. And again, for me, I have beef with it. I have beef, and a lot of people should have beef with this situation happening right now. They should. Also, before I get off of the whole ICE and everything like that, it has been announced that the Department of Justice is investigating Tim Walz and Jacob Fry over alleged conspiracy to impede immigration agents. Okay. One of the sources, a U.S. official, said the investigation stems from statements that Walz and Fry have made about thousands of ICE officers and Border Patrol agents deployed to Minneapolis region in recent weeks. Subpoenas are likely to be issued in the probe. Sources familiar with the matter told CBS News. A Justice Department spokesperson declined to comment. Fry will say in a statement to CBS News, "This is an obvious attempt to intimidate me for standing up for Minneapolis, our local law enforcement, and our residents against the chaos and danger this administration has brought to our streets. I will not be intimidated. My main focus will remain where it's always been, keeping our city safe." Tim Walz would say in a statement. 2 days ago, it was Alicia Slotkin. Last week, it was Jerome Powell. Before that, Mark Kelly. Weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. The only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her, which, again, is a fact. I don't understand how we're allowing that to happen. But again, since he's part of ICE, they're going to allow that to just go by. But yeah, man, you start to see what we're seeing. Everybody's seeing it, and I'm going to say it once again. You have people at the top that could easily depose what Trump is doing. You have people in those dark forces that could kind of tell Trump, hey, yo, you need to chill out with that, or yo, you need to abandon that thought, but they are all with it. Again, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that tactic is for that, but it's just nasty work. And now you're sicking the Department of Justice onto the mayor and the governor of that state, where people are really outraged because a citizen who should not have been killed for any reason got killed by an ICE agent. And you're trying to say that they are messing with ICE. They are messing with your version of justice. They are impeding them. It's just complete and utter nonsense to me. But again, this is where we're at in America. And also, God, I have to say this, but it's so stupid that I have to say this, but it's true, and this is where we're going with this. Kristen Noem, who is the Homeland Secretary, has told reporters that validating the identity of some people who ICE agents encounter is something we've always done. She's saying that Americans should be prepared to prove their citizenship as ICE ramps up raids. I don't like that. I don't like it. I've seen people online talk about it already. I thought that was like, okay, that's just people's talking points. But nope. For her to come out here and say that that's something that people are going to have to do, they're going to have to validate the identities of people in their surroundings. So basically pulling out probably their license, their birth certificate, or anything of that nature. I don't know what they'll be asking for when ICE is going to pull up to you and ask for some verification. I don't like it, bro. I don't like it. People have talked about how ICE will run up to your home and knock on your door and ask for this or ask for that. Dog, this is weird. This is big weird. I don't like that we're moving in that direction, and I don't like how people are just comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable. I'm not at all. Because I don't want me to be chilling at my crib and then get a big old knock on the door, because it won't be as simple, just like a nice polite knock. It won't ever happen be that way. When there's law enforcement, they like to knock on your door like you owe them some type of money. It's ridiculous. And then you will, if you don't have a Ring camera, or if you don't have any other type of camera, you'll go to your window or you'll go to your door trying to figure out who is knocking on your door that they lost their mind. And then it'll be ICE. And then you will have to deal with, quote unquote, the government right in front of your face. And then they'll try to play some silly game with you, ask for some type of verification, you being outraged, you being pissed. You will feel like you're being insulted by this because you, an American citizen, will be like, yo, how are you asking for verification, dog? You guys can just go into the database. You guys can see who lives here. You guys can look at the face, because I'm pretty sure the government has people's faces of who lives at a location spot. And you can just tell right there, like, yo, he matches. We can go, we can dip. You don't need these verification stuff, but this is where we're at in the U.S. It's nasty work. I hate it. I don't like it. I hope that this is just a talking point, not something that's real. But it seems that this is going to be a real thing. It seems that that's where we're going to. This is where we're headed, and it's nasty. And yeah, man, I don't like that this is where we're at, but that's where we're at right about now. Now, the last thing before I get off of Trump and his administration's neck, I do at least want to say this. Trump did make some type of side comment about canceling the upcoming midterm elections. Politico would talk about this in an article. It would say his most recent floating of the idea came in an interview with Reuters, during which he discussed concerns that the Republicans could lose seats in the midterms. His quoting as arguing we shouldn't even have an election on account of how much the Trump administration has accomplished. When asked about the comments on Thursday evening, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt brushed off the comments, telling reporters the president was simply joking, stating she was present for the interview earlier this week adding, he was saying, "We're doing such a great job, maybe we should just keep rolling," but he was speaking fictitiously. I'm going to say right now, I don't think Homeboy's speaking fictitiously. I think Homeboy is, again, feeling himself. I think some people in the back might be encouraging Trump to try to, cancel the midterm elections, which I think should not happen. Any type of elections that needs to happen, let it continue to go as business as usual. Let people do their civic duty in voting in the elections. Let that stuff happen. Once you try to cancel out an election, whether it be midterms or the presidential election, the one that people care about every 4 years, it's going to cause a problem. And for him to try to, or at least make that comment, which it should have never left his mouth, but again, it's Trump. It is what it is with that. I think Homeboy does want to probably cancel it out because he doesn't want to have the Republicans lose any seats in the midterms. And I could just think, again, because I'm saying now, Trump is not a Republican. Trump does his own thing. I'm hoping that Republicans, true Republicans, or even the baby Republicans that are just walking behind Trump and just believing everything that he says, get smartened up by old, grizzled, veteran Republicans and pull them aside and say, "Hey, yo, he does not represent us. He does not represent us in the slightest." And they tell them the actual deal of what's going down. But I'm hoping that Republicans don't fall for this. They don't. Because once he does this, and this happens, it opens the floodgates. Republicans do got to know that. Because Trump's time will come. And he will no longer be the guy sitting on the presidential seat in that Oval Office. It's not going to happen. It's going to come a day when he's not going to be there. And if Trump happens to get rid of the midterm elections and a Democratic candidate happens to win presidency and gets in the Oval Office, you do know certain people will be trying to cancel midterm elections. You do know there will be a Democrat that will feel the way that we can cancel midterm elections just as a get back for the Republicans did. And I understand Democrats are supposed to be the whole, we always stand above the bullying tactics of the Republican Party. But there's going to be a Democrat that's going to be like, nah, they go low, I'm going extremely lower. And things are going to get way worse than that. Republicans and Democrats should be trying to kill that if Trump ever tries to really pull that off and really try to do the whole canceling of the midterm elections. Republicans and Democrats should do that because once that door is open, it's open for anybody to get in that seat and do this, and things will become extremely worse in government political affairs. I just want to throw it out there for people to know. Again, Trump is throwing it out there. Said it's just a joke, but I don't think so. I think Homeboy is really going to try to kill the midterm elections. Just want to get that out there for people to know what's going on. Now, moving off of Trump news in the government, I do want to talk about, at least for a little bit, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court this week, they heard oral arguments in 2 landmark cases that are challenging state laws banning transgender youth from participating in interscholastic and intercollegiate sports. I'm getting this information from ACLU. The 2 cases is West Virginia versus BPJ and Little versus, I believe, Hitchcocks. This is 2 transgender female athletes, one in West Virginia and one in Idaho, who were barred by West Virginia and Idaho state law from participating on the girls' and women's sports teams at their schools. Attorneys for the 2 transgender athletes argued today that the ban violates the rights of transgender and cisgender female students under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. In addition, in the West Virginia versus BPJ, they argue that West Virginia's ban violates Title IX, the federal law prohibiting sex discrimination in educational programs. Federal courts have blocked enforcement of those bans in both lawsuits. I want to read you something here that comes from the Council of the Non-Binary and Transgender Rights Project Director, Sasha Burchett. I'm hoping I said her name right. She would say this to the justices, saying that Becky simply wants to be with her teammates on the track and field team to experience the camaraderie and many documented benefits of participating in team sports. It has been proven that participating in team sports equips youth with a myriad of skills in leadership, teamwork, confidence, health. On the other hand, denying a student the ability to participate is not only discriminatory, but harmful to a student's self-esteem, sending a message that they are not good enough and deserve to be excluded. That is the argument we made today, and that we hope resonated with the justices of the Supreme Court. Another counsel for the ACLU's LGBTQ and HIV project, Joshua Block, would say this case is about the ability of transgender youth like Becky to participate in our schools and communities. School athletics are fundamentally educational programs, but West Virginia's law completely excluded Becky from her school's entire athletic program, even when there is no connection to alleged concerns about fairness or safety. As the lower court recognized, forcing Becky to either give up sports or play on the boys' team is contradiction of who she is at school, at home, and across her life. Is really no choice at all. We are glad to stand with her and her family to defend her rights and the rights of every young person to be included as a member of their school community at the Supreme Court. Now, here's just, again, my thoughts, and my thoughts are just mine. I think, first and foremost, that this should be a woman matter. And I understand parents are supposed to speak up for their children, which is perfectly fine. I think that if you have people on the team, women on the team, I think you have to take some things into a vote with things like this. Again, we're still in this whole gray, nuanced area when we are talking about transgender athletes doing or going into the sport that they have decided they want to go into. Meaning that if you were born a female and you don't feel that you were born in the right body, and you transition yourself into a male and you want to play football with the guys, you want to play football or basketball with the guys. If you were born a man and you don't feel that you were born in the correct body, or you don't feel like a man, you always felt like a female, and you get the whole thing in process done, and you transition yourself into a female and you want to play female sports, I think that you do need to have the conversation with the athletes at that team, and also the athletes that you're going to be playing against. I think that needs to be a conversation piece. I do. Because, again, we're in this gray area. I think that if you have this thing be a law that you can or cannot do this, first of all, you should always make that a rule of, is someone comfortable doing this? Are you comfortable competing against someone that's not your gender? Because you got certain people, and I'm not mistaken, there are certain people that will wrestle girls, or girls will wrestle guys, and it's just is what it is. People practice like that too, with guys wrestling the girls, girls wrestling guys. I know when you're an adult, you have people that are men judo training and all this mixed martial arts training with females. And I'm pretty sure they have to ask, are you okay with this and all that? I think we need to imply that onto the type of sporting that's happening here. I think that you need to ask people, are you okay with this? Are you okay with this happening and all this and all that? And I think that when you ask the athlete that, you have to have the parent kind of be somewhere around when you ask them this question, just so that the parent can see that, A, your kid's okay with this, or A, your kid's not okay with this. It needs to be addressed in some way, form, or fashion. That's just me personally. Now, law-wise, is going to be interesting to see how this goes. Do I think that trans students should be able to play with other individuals in said sport? I would think so. Why not? Why not? Allow them to do it. But again, I'm a dude. I'm comfortable as a dude. I haven't seen a lot of women that were born a woman that transitioned over to a man wanted to play man sports. I haven't seen too many of that. I've seen the opposite. I've seen the man, a person born a man, transitioning into a female and playing female sports. We've seen more of that. And this is where we're at with this. And parents, again, we're in a gray area. People are not too comfortable with it yet. I think it does need to pass that this thing can be allowed. But then when you pass it, you do need to say, hey, you have to get consent from the person that you're playing against or the person that you're playing with on that team or something like that. You have to get consent from that. It needs to be consent. It does. Because once you get consent from that person that you are playing against or playing with, there's no such thing as, well, we were not comfortable with it or anything like that. No, you had the ability to say no. And you were okay with it. You can't not be okay with it now because you lost to that person or you found out how strong that person was or anything like that. No, you cannot just decide no off rip or make up your mind and say no after that. You can't. I mean, you have to understand these things. When you're in sports, you are teaching kids responsibilities. You're teaching kids discipline. And I think that's where, again, one of those skills come in to be an adult. That's part of the situation. That's part of the transition of being a kid to an adult or a kid to a teen to an adult. You learn those skills. And for people that play sports, you have to listen to leadership. You have to make decisions for yourself, whether you're going to listen or follow the program or not follow the program. This is where it comes into play with us. And Supreme Court is going to do what they're going to do. They're hearing this stuff. They're going to make a decision on this. And it said in the summer of 2026, so this summer, they're going to make a decision on both, whether these transgender athletes can play in their respective state and school teams. But I think consent needs to be at the top of the list for this thing. I do. I think there's always going to be certain people that's going to always find it very, very odd and very, very strange that you allow a trans athlete to play with your child in that exact same sport. But we got to shake that off. We got to shake off the weirdness and oddness of this. And if it gets too weird for a lot of people, I would say this. Give them their own type of division. And people might say, that's crazy. You can't do that. No, there's going to be a time where we're going to have to do that. Because let's just say they pass it through. And again, they pass it through with the condition that you got to get consent from everybody that they are cool with you playing. They get a leaping, resounding of no. Or they get, okay, well, let's say 15 people on the basketball team. The coach asks the team, who is okay with playing with let's just go for this, Becky, because this is one of the names that they're going with in the case. Who's okay with playing with Becky? Out of the 15, 9 says no, 6 says yes. That's a resounding no, right? The coach can say, okay, well, we'll do this. The 6 that said yes, you'll play with Becky over here. You guys will help her with the sport that they're playing and all that type of stuff. We're still going to have Becky on the team, but we're going to make some type of adjustment. And then when it's time for a basketball game to come around, they can ask the opposing team, hey, we have a trans student on our team. Hey, we want to know, do you guys have a problem playing against our team still? And if the team on the other end says, no, we don't got no problem, the game's a game, guess what? Becky, she can play. And then you have to have a conversation with the 9 that says no. And they will probably say, come on, we're not playing with. And then you as the coach will say, this is what's going to happen. This is a part of leadership. We have to get along to win for the team. We got to do this. And then some of the 9 will come around, they will play with, and then they will understand that that person isn't so bad. You got to have people join together. That's what has to happen. And if, let's just say it's the other way around. The team says, no, we don't want to play against someone that has a transgender person on their team. Well, then you go to Becky, you tell her, okay, they don't want to play. We'll just have to bench you for right now. We'll see what happens later down the line. Becky will more than likely be sad at that moment, but she'll still be on the team. There'll probably another opportunity where another team will probably be willing to say that they'll play against Becky. But it's all about giving the children or giving the team and the athletes the opportunity to have consent to say yes, they want to do it or no, they don't want to do it. In all reality, that's where it really comes down to. Just giving the athlete consent to the situation, whether they want to play with a transgender athlete on their team or oppose their team. That's where it all comes down to. But again, the Supreme Court, they will go and they will, plead and give a result to this in the summer of 2026. And when it happens, I'm pretty sure it's going to make national news like it did this week, because you have people outside opposing this whole transgender, trans rights in kids' athletics. It is what it is with that. Again, we're still in that gray area where people are going to feel ways towards them. But I just go on the side of just giving the athletes consent. That's all I will say, whether they want to do it or don't. That's just where I stand on that. Now, with that being said, that's all the government news I do want to make mention or at least talk about on today's episode. Moving off of government news now, I do have to talk about an ex-senator that is being sued for allegedly breaking up a marriage. Associated Press would write about former U.S. Senator Kristen Sinema had a romantic relationship with a member of her security detail that led to the breakup of the man's marriage, his ex-wife alleged in a lawsuit seeking at least $75,000 from Sinema. Matthew and Heather Emil had a good loving relationship with genuine love and affection before Sinema interfered, pursuing Matthew despite knowing he was married, Heather alleges in her lawsuit. The Arizona lawmakers' head of security hired Matthew after he retired from the Army in 2022, according to a lawsuit which says he accompanied her on travels to destinations including Napa Valley, California, Las Vegas, and Saudi Arabia. In early 2024, Matthew's wife discovered romantic and lascivious messages he exchanged with Sinema over the Signal messaging app. That summer, he stopped wearing his wedding ring, and Sinema gave him a job as a national security fellow in her Senate office while he continued to work for her campaign as a bodyguard, the lawsuit alleges. Sinema also paid for psychedelic treatment for Matthew, who had struggled with post-traumatic stress, substance abuse, and traumatic brain injuries tied to his military deployments in Afghanistan and the Middle East, according to the lawsuit. Sinema and her attorney did not respond to requests for comments. Now, this was filed in North Carolina. North Carolina is one of the states that allows spouses to sue for alienation of affection to seek damages from a third party responsible for the breakup of the marriage. So that's what's going on right now with this former U.S. senator. I'm going to say it again, man. I mean this and I mean it now. I'm not certain if Kristen Sinema was married. If she was, best believe they would have put that in an article, so I'm not going to go with it. She was not. She knew that her security detail was married, and she plays a part in it. The man plays a bigger part as well because he's the guy that's married. He's the guy that went in front of a priest or whoever it was to say that, yes, you will take this woman to be your wife and do the whole traditional vows and all that type of stuff. So he plays a big part, but she plays a part too. So I'm cool with the ex-wife suing for some damages. I'm cool with it because, dog, you knew my person was married and you still went after my person. Even if it was the other way around and old boy was going after Kristen, she still, knowing that he's married, could have said no. But she gave in. And it is what it is. So I'm not too hard up or harpstring over this woman. I'm not at all. And also, just want to give a little heads up here. I do not, and I want to say this loud and clear before I give what I'm about to say here. I do not support cheating at all. I would rather, if you're not happy with your situation, you have that uncomfortable conversation. And I mean uncomfortable conversation with your partner and or spouse about where your mind is and where you think you might be headed. I really do think that needs to happen because I know a lot of people don't like having uncomfortable conversations because it's uncomfortable. It's in the name. But you got to have it just so your spouse and your partner know where you're head at and you guys can at least try to fix it or make the decision if you guys want to fix it or not. Instead of being blindsided like this woman Heather was. Now, want to give that piece first and foremost. Now, secondly, to all the dudes out there, because there's more dudes than women that do this. If you guys are going to have a side piece and you're married, you should not leave no type of evidence on your phone at all. And I mean that. There have been movies, TV shows, social media posts. There's everything in media, and you have heard from one person or another in your day-to-day life about someone getting caught because they had that information on their phone. And it's more than likely men will always have that dirty information on their phone of them doing something with their side piece on their phone. And it's always the wife and or girlfriend, if you're in that situation, will always go through the phone and then see what's going down. If you are having a side piece, you guys should not be texting back and forth. You guys should not be having no calls back and forth. You guys should be doing none of that. This should go back to like this being a spy operation. You guys should be writing something on paper when you see one another, saying, here's the destination, here's the time, next week or in a month, and then have them remember that. And you should remember that too, because if you write it on a note, best believe you're the one that set it up. We should go back to that. Writing it on a piece of paper and letting it go like that. If you happen to forget, guess what? It wasn't that important. But if you happen to remember, guess what? It's important enough. And that's what should happen. You should not have anything that traces you back to your side piece or traces you back to your cheating that you're doing. If you guys are going to do it, which I do not, and I want to say it, I do not co-sign. But I've seen it too many times, and there's always that mistake. And I got to say rookie mistake, even though I do not co-sign cheating. It's just something that we see every time when it talks about dudes getting busted. Every time. How she caught you. She looked through the phone. Oh, that see, it's always the phone. It's always the phone. So, again, men, don't be stupid. Don't have that information on your phone. But first and foremost, don't cheat. Have that uncomfortable conversation with your spouse, with your partner, and just let them know that you're not happy and that you want to change, or there needs to be something that has happened, or there will be, well, I hate to say it like this, ramifications, but there will be things that's going to come to pass from that. You know what I mean? Moving off of that, but still staying in the whole cheating realm, because I don't have this up in front of me, but this is just coming off the dome here. There was an influencer couple, Crystal or Christy, some Scott, Desmond Scott. You know the people, the black couple that she was always doing something, and homeboy would act surprised, or they will make influencer videos, influencer content. It was announced, I want to say late last week, that the wife, Christine, filed for divorce against Desmond. I personally do not care about it, but I've seen too many people online just constantly talk about this and give life into it, saying that homeboy cheated on her, he didn't warn her, all this and all that. Dog, nobody knows a god flipping thing except for homeboy and old girl. Those are the only people that we know that know anything. Their families might know something more than we do, but everybody else out here, we don't know nothing. There's been more information that's come out saying that, because he put out a statement saying that he made some decisions that isn't agreeable since they got separated before the divorce. And now there's been video of him making out with a woman in some type of club on the exact same day that his ex-wife decided to file for divorce. So they were already living separated, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why this is such a big thing. You guys catching him in a club kissing some woman. Dog. He already knew it was coming. She knew it was coming. So homeboy just already started on his Oregon trail of trying to just get over this pain. I'm pretty sure that the ex-wife, she's going to be out somewhere. She's probably going to be, not going to say out right now, but probably just going to be chilling out for a little bit, getting herself together, because she looked like she was real internet savvy, real content game savvy. If anything, I probably can expect a 2010 type video or post about, you guys know about my divorce, let me tell you about it, video from her before she starts making the big Hollywood run, because she's a pretty woman. She's pretty. And I don't know if she acts or not, but I can see her being in some type of movie or television special about a relationship, and she could play on her experience with old boy and how that ended as a character thing. I can see it, because again, she's a pretty woman. But old boy, Desmond, hey man, more power to you. I'm hoping that you can do what you got to do. I think he was a chef at one point in his time. I'm hoping that you still have contacts, that you still can chef up and do what you got to do. But ladies and gentlemen, nobody knows what went down in their life. Nobody knows what went down in their homes. I would like for people to stop caring about that, because there's nothing there. There's nothing there until one of those two officially come out and tell exactly what happened. Homeboy put out a statement, but it doesn't really give much. Again, once she comes out, because she's the one that officially filed, then I'll put everything into perspective. So that's something else that happened this week with divorce news. Anything else I do want to talk about? There's a toxic mushroom outbreak that has killed 3 people and sickened more than 30 in California. ABC would write about it. They would say that recent heavy rains have caused death cap mushrooms to flourish in the wild, including one of the deadliest fungi, the Western destroying angel mushroom, according to the California Department of Public Health. So that's what's going on right now. I don't want people to be out there eating some type of big, deadly mushroom out there, which I don't think you should be eating mushrooms out there in the wild at all. But certain people will do it anyway. But please be careful. Please know what you're eating if you're going to try to live out there on the wild and do all these nature hunts and crap like that. I would say don't eat mushrooms. If anything, pack your own trail mix or something. Pack your own bags and all that type of stuff, bro. If you're going to be out there just hiking. But don't try to eat and live from the wild. We're past that now. We're way past that now. But I did want to let my people in the California area know that there is a mushroom out there. Now, with that, now it's time for me to move over into entertainment before I get you guys out of here. The first thing I want to talk about is Los Angeles Times. It will write up about singer Julio Iglesias, who's the father of Enrique Iglesias. He has put out a statement in response to allegations this week that he sexually assaulted 2 former employees at his homes in the Dominican Republic and the Bahamas. In a statement on Instagram, he would post that he denies allegations as absolutely false. I deny having abused, coerced, or disrespected any woman, he said in his statement, which was in Spanish but then translated to English. These accusations are absolutely false and cause me great sadness. I have never experienced such malice, but I still have the strength for people to know the full truth and to defend my dignity against such a serious effort. Prosecutors in Spain say they are studying the allegations against Iglesias this week, claims that surfaced in media reports this week. Spanish online paper and Spanish language television channel Univision this week published a joint investigation into accusations that Iglesias sexually and physically assaulted the former employees, 2 women who say they were live-in workers at his home in the Caribbean between January and October 2021 amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. The non-governmental organization Women's Link Worldwide is representing the 2 accusers, claiming Iglesias committed crimes against sexual freedom and indignity such as sexual harassment and of human trafficking for the purpose of forced labor and servitude. Okay, so the father of Enrique, Julio Iglesias, is going to be facing this. I mean, it could have happened. Homeboy is what, 80-something years old? I just said it. He's what, 82. He's 82 years old. COVID happened 2020. They're saying this happened in 2021, so he was late 70s. I mean, it could have happened. We'll have to wait and see when more information comes out, but man, it just seems that people of the past are getting hit with sexual assault charges. What, Smokey Robinson got one a couple months ago. I made mention of that. I haven't heard more details about that. Now, my man over here is getting hit with one. I mean, it is what it is. But when more information comes out, I hope to bring it back up here and talk to you guys more about it. I do want to give a congratulations to Teyana Taylor. Teyana Taylor, she won the Golden Globe Award last week in Sunday. I didn't even know about the Golden Globes, but I forgot to talk about this on the Wednesday, so I'm going to make mention of it right here. She won Best Supporting Actress in that movie that she did with Leonardo DiCaprio. I believe it was One Battle After Another. I just saw that on Hulu. It was a cool movie. I was trying to figure out why people were mad at Teyana Taylor for winning this award. People were trying to say and compare it to the whole Halle Berry winning the Oscar deal for her role in Monster, and they're just trying to just say that both of those women were used as sexual objects in their movies, which that's one way you can look at it. But me, I don't care. I just am happy for Teyana Taylor to have won that award. When I think about Teyana Taylor, I think about Teyana Taylor the first time I saw her, at least in media-wise. She was on an episode of My Sweet 16. That was the Sweet 16 series that happened on MTV. That was the first time I ever saw her. Then years later, she ends up being an artist, and you hear about her working with Pharrell. You hear about her working with Kanye West. You see her dating and marrying Iman Shumpert. They're having kids. She's still doing music, still doing choreography for all different people in the entertainment business. And now she's really diving headfirst into the acting world. And now she worked with Leonardo DiCaprio, which is a great thing for any freaking person, whether you are black, white, Hispanic, anything. Leonardo DiCaprio is one of them in Hollywood. So working with him is a little notch on the belt that you should be happy to have said that you've done. To her being in The Rip, which is a movie that's on Netflix now with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, which I got to watch and I'm going to watch. And I'll probably give some type of opinion piece on that on my Wednesday episode. But for her to work with Leonardo DiCaprio, to now working with, or just did a movie with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and I can see her doing a lot of other things in the Hollywood space. Dog, she has a lot of freedom, bro, and that's good to see. And I'm happy that she's taking advantage of this. I'm hoping just for bigger and brighter things for Teyana Taylor. I really am. So I was happy to see her win the Golden Globe, and I'm happy for her just to be in a lot of other things. Because, dude, she's just out there, dude. She was on the Netflix. They're supposed to be doing something coming up for Netflix. She's in that little teaser trailer reveal for that. So Hollywood has something in play, or at least Teyana Taylor's agency has something in play for her, and I can't wait to see it. But I'm happy to see that Teyana Taylor did win a Golden Globe award. So congratulations to Teyana Taylor. I wish I could have said that Wednesday, but better late than never. Okay, so happy for her for that. Rap heads or rappers or whoever you are to like to listen to hip hop, it was announced this week that J. Cole's long-awaited album, The Fall Off, will be coming to streaming services or available for purchase on February the 6th. So that's just, by my math, 3 weeks away. That's kind of short announcement to just drop on people, but I mean, people have been waiting for J. Cole to drop for the last, and I say more than ever since the whole Kendrick and Drake and a little bit of J. Cole inserting himself and then back out of that type of situation that happened, 2 years ago. People have been waiting for J. Cole's album to fall off more from that incident. So now it's coming out. People are already saying, and I think even J. Cole has said that once he drops the Fall Off album, that's more likely his last album that he'll be doing. So people are really going to be dissecting and analyzing that album when it comes out. He already had a single, and it's not really a single, but it's more of a song that came out this past, Thursday or Friday, one of the two. I listened to it. It's cool. I'm going to be waiting for his album to come out just to see how that goes. But yeah, people are going to be really highly anticipating that. And then off the back of that, you know what's coming next. People are going to be anticipating Drake. Because people are going to be saying if J. Cole was able to drop, and J. Cole was silent throughout that whole time, Drake has always been, not always, but Drake has been titter-tattering with the whole Iceman album, talking about his Iceman albums, about completed and this and that. Yo, people are really going to be on Drake's neck saying, all right, when that Iceman album coming out? You say you've been ready. If J. Cole is able to drop an album out, yo, and he was silent, yo, get to it, chop chop. People are really going to be on Drake's neck next. So be prepared for all that commotion to come about within the next couple weeks as well, if you listen to hip hop. Anything else in entertainment? Oh yes, final episode of Landman is more than likely out right now. By the time this episode is available to you guys and you're listening to it right now, I'm going to be watching that. That's the season finale for this season 2 of Landman. Landman's a pretty good series, bro. If you haven't watched it, I would say go to Paramount Plus and go to it. This is not an ad. This is just me just telling you what I like. Also, FX is dropping the show Beauty. Again, is that show that's talk about, I say it's more of a taking a shot on Ozempic, where this show you get a shot, it's going to make you look beautiful, but it's going to have some side effects to it. That series is dropping the 21st, so it'll be dropping, by my calculations, I think Wednesday it'll be dropping. Monday 19th. Yeah, Wednesday it'll drop. So I'll be checking at least that first episode out, and more likely next Sunday I'll talk about that and see if I'm going to continue that or not. But they've really been heavy marketing that series, at least the coming of that series. So hopefully the first episode will do us some justice. Is there anything else in entertainment I do want to discuss? Nope, I believe that's it. So with that, now it's time for me to get you guys out of here. I would like to thank all the podcasting sites for having me on here, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbeam, Audible, iHeart, all the other podcasting sites you might be listening to me on right now. I would like to thank all of them, because without them, I wouldn't be able to get this podcast out to you guys, downloaders and listeners. So thank you. I would like to thank also you guys, the downloaders and listeners. I would like to thank you guys for tuning into today's episode and listening to me just rant and ramble about everything that happened this week, because you guys could have chose something else. You guys could have listened to anything else, but you decided to listen to me, whether you're in your car, in your house, any device that you're listening to this podcast on. I want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I really do mean that. Now with that being said, always remember,
I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
that is not a gimmick. I really do mean that. I really do love every single one of you guys. I want everyone to be blessed. I want everyone to have a great day. I want everyone to have a great week. I want everyone to please not be a dick. Please be kind and courteous to everyone that you do come across, and just try to not be obnoxious, because you have no idea what people are dealing with. Somebody might be dealing with personal issues or be in a bad situation and you being obnoxious or you being a prick to them, it can send them over the edge, and I don't want that to happen for anybody. So just send some kindness to someone, and I guarantee you that will more than likely make their day better, because sending kindness out is free. So just try to be a bright light for people out there. That's the best I got for you guys right there. With that being said, this has been the My 2 Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. He is I and I am him. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from the sweet sounding voice again. Now, with that being said, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.